Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other updates. So the last update about Taste of Fate, Prachi and Shahana disguised and raided the Kohli's house, and they were able to get the original divorce papers from Rhea's locker, but Rhea stops them as they were going. Let's continue. Prachi and Shahana says that they will leave. Rhea asks them to stop and says whatever you got from here and whatever you are taking from here, make an entry. Prachi says why not? A flashback is shown. Aliyah tells Rhea and Pallavi that she has inquired and she came to know that they are not the IT officers. Pallavi asks who are they. Rhea says they are Prachi and Shahana. Prachi comes near Rhea and asks where to do the entry. Rhea pulls her fake beard. Prachi is shocked. She removes her specs and turban. She asks Shahana if she will remove her fake attire herself or if she shall help her. Shahana removes the beard and mustache. Rhea takes the file from Prachi's hand and takes the papers. She says they haven't come here to raid, but to steal these papers. She says she wanted to lie and claim her right. She says you both had enough nonsense. Now I will go to the lawyer and I will raid your dream house. Rhea asks Grandma if Prachi is so truthful. Then why is she so afraid of the papers? She says it is revealed how Prachi is. Prachi says who forced me to do this? And says who has lied again and again and who took my signatures by cheating. She says sometimes we have to take the help of lie to prove the truth. Aliyah asks Rhea not to argue with the middle class people and lower your class. Shahana says what happened if you don't have class? Aliyah says you will steal the money but you will be middle class. She is not ashamed. Prachi says I am not of the Kohli family and I don't accept the family as mine. She snatches the paper from Rhea's hand and tears it. Rhea is shocked. Prachi says Rhea doesn't have fake admittance paper or divorce papers to claim that you are Ranbir's wife. She says your lie is lost. She says lie is always a lie and cannot take the place of truth. She says your lie game is over, like the palace of cars are blown due to the wind. She says what is left? This house. She says this house is mine and says I am the only daughter of this house and I am Ranbir's wife. Grandma smiles. Ranbir is leaving from the office. Jai gives him his bag. Ranbir thanks him. Jai hugs him and says everything will be fine. Ranbir says I would inform my father after reaching there. He says I came to know about the journey after coming here. Jai says Ranbir is so stressed physically and mentally and getting grinded between Prachi and Rhea. Prachi says your plans has failed. I am sorry that your planning and plotting is ruined. Shahana asks them to pick the torn papers. She tells Rhea that she has changed. Rhea says you are shameless. Prachi says we have seen you crossing your shame. She says the cheapest thing is that the elders are supporting you. Aliyah asks Prachi to shut up and says you cannot hide your doings. Prachi says sorry, if I hold your hand, then you will not be able to feel good. She says when elders are at mistake and youngsters hold their hands, then it doesn't look good. She asks her to keep her eye there at herself. Pallavi says the way Prachi is talking to us, it is like throwing stones in the dirty water. Prachi says I was pure water and I became dirty water here and asks what is mixed in the water that it becomes dirty water. The police comes there and asks who is Prachi Arora. Prachi says she is Prachi Arora. The inspector says you are under arrest. Prachi is shocked. Ranbir is going to the airport and thinking about Prachi. He says I will do whatever you say. I just want your happiness. The driver says they have gotten to the airport. Ranbir thanks him and gets down from the car. A song plays in the background. Prachi says under arrest. The inspector says Rhea Kohli called and said that Prachi Arora came to her house to steal in disguise. He says she has sent the photos also. Prachi says this is a lie and we haven't stolen anything. Rhea tells her that her necklace is stolen. Prachi says Rhea wanted to trap me and asked the lady constable to check her. Rhea asks the inspector to check her. Prachi thinks if this is a new trick. Shahana says we haven't stolen anything. Rhea says it is between two sisters, one of whom wanted to steal everything from her sister. The constable says that there is nothing in her. Rhea says maybe she has hidden the necklace in the room. Shahana says she has said that she stays here. Why would she steal in her own house? Aliyah asks where is Prachi's room. Rhea asks Grandma to show Prachi's room and says that Grandma helped them even in the fake IT officers. She asks her to help the inspector. Grandma says I know nothing is stolen from this house. Pallavi says I would identify the necklace. I would come with you. Prachi asks what is this new conspiracy. Rhea says I am punishing you for your deeds. Prachi says I shall punish you then. Rhea says the thief is the one who gets caught. Prachi says you can fool the police but not me. Rhea says you will soon be caught. A flashback is shown. Aliyah makes a plan to trap Prachi in theft case. Pallavi says we will keep diamond necklace in Prachi's room and then Prachi will be arrested. Prachi looks at Aliyah smiling at Rhea. She asks Rhea if she hid the necklace in her room. Rhea smiles. Rhea asks Prachi to talk in front of the police. The inspector comes there and says that they have found the necklace. Rhea says I am sure that she has stolen it and she kept it in her room. Prachi says she did not steal. The inspector says we found it in your room and saw Rhea's wedding album. She is wearing the same necklace. He says we have to arrest her. Grandma says Prachi hasn't stolen any necklace. The inspector asks Vikram to make her understand and says they cannot take action against the senior citizen. Vikram asks Grandma to let them do their duty. Grandma says they are arresting Prachi. Shahana says maybe the necklace went to her room mistakenly. The inspector says prove it. She will be jailed. Prachi asks for 5 minutes. Rhea says maybe she wants help from my husband as my husband is kind-hearted. Pallavi says I will not let my son help her this time. Prachi says she needs time to change her clothes. The inspector gives her 5 minutes. Prachi wears her sari and keeps her hand on her stomach. She takes the medicine and swallows it with water. Prachi says I am so sorry my baby. I have given you stress and apologizes to the baby. She says I promise that we will return to our house soon. She turns and sees Rhea standing there. Rhea asks will you not stare at me today and will you not give challenging look? She says you have lost the challenge from me. Rhea says to Prachi that you are leaving from this house and asks what do you think that I will look at your face seeing you stealing the papers. She reminds her that she has accused her of theft when she came to her house for the first time in the party. She says I like it somehow a lot when people call her Prachi the thief. Rhea says today your luck, your tongue and your words are not working. She says you stop my rituals and stop me from living with my Ranbir. She says I was angry and I was waiting for the right moment. She says you have spoiled my wedding night and I have made arrangement for you to stay in the jail. Rhea says you can call yourself as the daughter-in-law of the jail and asks her to go out as the wedding procession are waiting for her. She says namaste and turns to go. Prachi says today was yours and I promise that tomorrow will be mine. Rhea asks if you are still seeing the dream to return here. Prachi says yes. She says God sent us as sisters, but you broke that relationship and connected fake illegal second wife relationship. She said my husband is not in your life, just in your thought, and asks her to stop imagining. She says you have not won, as war is still remaining. Prachi says my future is very strong and when I return here, you have to go. Rhea says this is the end for you. Prachi says this is a new start for me. It is all about perspective. She asks her to change her angle, to change her perspective. She says you tried to marry Ranbir, but he got married to me. Prachi says you tried again, but I showed you your place and shifted you to the guest room. She says I made you an illegal second wife and asked her not to stare at her, but to look at the room, the curtains, the bed, etc. She says this is Ranbir and my room, in which you can come inside, you can see it, but you can never live in it. Rhea says I got Ranbir and she shows the wedding necklace. Prachi asks who stepped on the moon first. Rhea says Neil Armstrong. Prachi asks who was Buzz Aldrin. Rhea asks what do you want to say? Prachi says you don't know and says that it was the second person who stepped on the moon. Prachi says people don't remember the second person and they just remember the first person. She says she is Ranbir's first wife and he got married to me and made me wear the wedding necklace and filled my forehead with cinder. She says whatever he does after this is useless thing. Rhea says she will get peace when the police handcuff Prachi and take her away from there. Prachi says I wish you talk something sensible when I return home. Grandma asks Vikram to do something. Vikram says I helped till I could. Grandma says you did not tell Rhea about Prachi. Vikram says Rhea haven't done anything wrong this time and says in this sisters fight, nobody will be 100% right or wrong. He asks Grandma not to have any hopes from him to help Prachi. Prachi comes back to the inspector and says thanks for giving me time. Shahana asks Rhea how can she get her sister arrested. Prachi asks her to go home. Shahana asks them to think Prachi as a human and says she is not the thief. The inspector says there's nothing in my hands. Shahana says I will get you freed and I will call Ranbir. Prachi says she will not call Ranbir or any of his family members for help. She asks her to call Sarita for help instead. The police arrest Prachi and takes her away. Shahana says that Prachi is the daughter-in-law of the house and asks if they will be okay if she stays in the jail all night. She asks Grandma not to support the wrong. Rhea says, "Who are you to call us wrong?" and asks her to shut up. Grandma says Shahana is right and says the big punishment for Prachi's small mistake. Rhea says Prachi betrayed me and took papers from my room. Shahana says you have taken her signatures by cheating. Aliyah says enough and asks Shahana to leave as Prachi has left and asks her to go and save her energy to save her. Shahana says I was about to go as not only stone-hearted people stays here but stones itself. She goes. Rhea thanks Pallavi for supporting her. Pallavi smiles. Grandma looks at Vikram. Shahana calls Jai. Jai picks the call. Shahana asks where is Ranbir. Jai says I don't know why his phone is off. Shahana asks what kind of friend are you? Jai asks why are you stressed? Shahana says Prachi is arrested by the police. Jai asks when and why. Shahana tells him everything. Shahana says it was Rhea's plan to get Prachi arrested. She says Prachi asked me not to take Ranbir's help, but it was the last option. Jai checks with the driver and comes to know that he has dropped Ranbir at the airport. Jai tells Shahana that Ranbir has a connecting flight from Mumbai to London and he thinks to inform Ranbir anyhow. Prachi is locked in the lockup. Her inner self asks her why did she come here if she is happy to come here in pregnancy. Other inner self tells Prachi that Prachi chose her baby over Sushma. Her inner self says that Rhea stresses her and says that only Ranbir can help her, but she doesn't want Ranbir's help. Another inner self says Prachi doesn't want Ranbir's help as her ego is bigger than her baby. Prachi asks them to be quiet and finds them gone. Thank you for watching. Please like my video, share it and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.